Hello, my name is Sasa and welcome to my channel. I make sewing, cosplay, cooking, and other DIY related videos. I really enjoy wearing Japanese kimono, and this video I will show how to make a reversible Nagoya Obi. So for all the instruction part of this tutorial, there will be no background music. I find it kind of distracting when you cannot control the levels of the sound of the person talking and the music. So if you're watching for entertainment purposes, feel free to play whatever music you like and enjoy. I measured a few of the obi that I got from Japan, and with those numbers, I created the pattern. I use both the metric and the imperial system. Many Canadians are also like this, where depending on what you're measuring or how long something is, you'll use either inches or centimeters. So that's why you'll see sometimes I use both. What's nice about making your own obi is that you can pick fabrics that are more modern or slightly different than what they used in the past. Also, you can adjust the sizing so that it fits your body size better. If you don't have enough fabric, it's okay to join it, but you want to make sure that the join areas will be hidden when you wear it. So the stiffener that I'm using is this cotton canvas. Instead of canvas, you can also use a thick interfacing. Next, to make the tare, which is the wide part, it will be at your back. To make it a little bit more stiff, I add an extra layer of the canvas. And then after basting all the parts together, you sew the seam all the way around and you just leave the top part open. So first, I pin the extra stiffener layer on top of the main. And the reason why it's slightly smaller is so that it doesn't end up into the seams and will reduce some of the bulk or extra thickness around there. So I baste the extra layer to the main piece. It doesn't matter if it's not the same thread color because this all is going to be hidden inside. So whenever I'm pinning multiple layers of fabric together, I always make sure I smooth out the fabric with my hands so that you don't end up with some kind of pucker or bulk in a weird spot. So after basting the stiffener to one side of the fabric, I trim off any of the excess. And then I'm getting my second fabric choice, which is this roses. So since both of my fabrics are a little bit slippery, I'm actually cutting the roses a little bit bigger than the actual finished size. And I will sew the 1 centimeter seam allowance around, and then afterwards I will trim off the excess. And the seam allowance, it's important to line it up with the stiffener and the first layer of fabric. So I'm using these small scraps just to demonstrate what the whole process will be like. So the first thing that you need to do is attach and base the stiffener to one piece of the fabric. And then afterwards you'd place right sides together. So for the te part, which is the narrow part, you need to leave one side open and a little bit of a slit around 7 inches. So I cut the main fabric first, and then instead of cutting the interfacing to the same size, I will pin that fabric directly to the interfacing and then cut. Because it's hard to cut perfectly straight, and sometimes fabric can shift, so I find this method works. I find this method also a little bit faster because you could pin and cut at the same time. And so since my interfacing is also not long enough, I overlap the pieces and just sew on top. This keeps the seams less bulky instead of doing it the more traditional way. So attaching multiple layers of fabric over 2, so 3 or more, all in one shot, the chances of you messing up is kind of high. Different layers can shift and move, so we would do them in steps. So first we attach one piece of the fabric to the interfacing, and we're going to be using a basting stitch, which is where the sewing machine makes very long jumps, so the stitching is very long. It makes it faster. So when you baste, make sure you're inside the seam allowance because we will not remove this stitch, but it will be hidden when we do the final stitching. After the basting, I trim off any excess parts. Sorry, I didn't film the full process for the te, but it's the same process for the tare. So to cut the second side of the obi, I take the first part that we just did, the leopard with the white backing, and I place that on top of the second fabric and I cut that out. Then with a stitch, I go around with the 1 centimeter seam allowance. So before you do the final stitching all the way around for the te, with your serger, go around and sew off all the raw edges because later on it would be more difficult to do and the raw edges will be shown. If you don't have a serger, there's many ways to finish a seam without a serger, either with a zigzag stitch or with the pinking shears, which is also zigzag. So here I'm stopping the stitch at 7 inches from the opening. So I did this at the end, but it's actually easier to do it before you turn it right side out. It's just to serge that last seam in the center part where the raw edges will be seen. So a good iron is what's going to make your project look really good. I iron both sides flat first, then I try and open up the seams, do it from the wrong side, and then again from the right side. If you try and iron it all in one shot, it won't be as crisp as if you would do each of the steps. So to connect the te and the tare together, it doesn't matter which side you do it from because when you wear it and you tie the obi, this part is hidden. So I fold the tare in half to find the middle point, and from there I pin there. So you want to line up the side seams. So for the te, which is the narrow part, I already pre-ironed it down a little bit, and you want to fold that down so that the two edges line up. So we iron the seam allowance towards the tare, which is the wide part. And then here with the rose fabric, you can see I'm folding it under and then ironing that. So the seam will be hidden there. So before you top stitch that part, the narrow part, the te, has the seam was just ironed down, and you want to sew on top of that first. And lastly, you top stitch the rose fabric down. Thank you for watching my video, and thank you for being with me. And if you're interested in seeing more of my kimono outfits, I have an Instagram account for that. Until the next time, bye bye!